So in this section we will add some templates in our theme that are still missing, and they're also required. So right now we have the archive.php. We also have the index.php, which will be the fallback for any missing template. We also have the single.php, which will be used for single blog posts. So let's take a look at, remember this chart here. We now have the archive.php, and the archive.php will be used for the author archive, the category archive, custom post types, and custom taxonomies, and we'll see this in a separate section. Also the date archives and tag archives. So I've added some widgets here to display the categories and tags. So if we go to a category, we'll find this template being used, and this template is archive.php. So you are displaying the archive title, and that's what's being displayed here. And for a tag it will be different, and also for a time archive or a month archive. So if you want to create a separate template for the category archive or the tag archive or the monthly archives, you can use category.php and date.php and tag.php. But I think you can do this by yourself if you would like. Let's now see the author archive. So here we can click on author and we'll have an author archive. And currently this also uses the archive.php. We have the archive title and the archive description. And the archive description will display the author info if it's an author archive, or it will display the category description. So in the backend we can go to post categories and add a description for each category. So that's what will be displayed by the archive description. But let's say we need the archive for the author to be a little bit different. We need to display more information about the author. We'd like to make it kinda like a profile for the author. So let's create a separate template for the author. So I'm gonna create a file called author.php, and let's save. And now we'll have a blank page here. So let's start coding the author.php. So what we need to do now is let's copy the archive.php. It will be kind of the same, but we'll have to modify it a little. So let's copy the archive and paste it in the author.php. So what I would like to do is remove the sidebar. So let's remove this, and I'm gonna copy this row or column, and I'm gonna put it before the posts, and inside this column we'll have the author info. So let's take a look, and we'll also have to remove this. So we'll have author info in this sidebar on the right or in the left, and on the right we'll have the posts for this author, right? And we won't have to change anything in the loop. We will just have to change this to author. Remember why we do that. If loop-author is found in your theme file, it will be used. If not, then loop.php will be used. And this is to give child theme developers the chance to write a custom loop just for the author page, right? We'll also have to remove this condition here. We don't have a sidebar anymore, so this will always be 8. And now let's display the information about the author. And we did something like that in the single page when we display the author info. But now we are in a author archive. How to get the current author is by using the query var in the URL. So I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, but in the WordPress settings, you can go to permalinks, and you can choose a pretty permalink, or you can choose the plain permalink, the default one. So let's save now, and let's go to the home page, and let's click on the author again. And now what you'll have in the URL is a query parameter here, and the ID of the author. So how to get this is by using a function called getQueryVar. So let's open a PHP tag here and get all the information we need, and then we will use them below. So we'll get the author ID and getQueryVar, and ours is called author, this one. So let's copy this, and now we have the ID of the author. So why don't we go to template parts and single and author. I just copy some of the information here and just paste, but we'll have to change some of it, because here when we used this function we were inside the loop, but now we're not inside the loop, so some of these functions will require to supply the ID. So for example, the websites will have to supply the ID, also the description, and get the author also won't work in this case, so we'll have to get it another way using get the author meta, and the field is called display name, and we don't need the URL in this case because we are actually inside this URL. And finally the number of posts, and this function also will work inside the loop, so we can use another function called count user posts, and it takes the user ID. So let's now use the information that we got in this sidebar. So let's create a header tag, and first we need the avatar. So let's open PHP and echo get avatar, and it needs the author ID and the size, and we can ignore all the others. So let's say 128, and now let's add an h1 tag. So this will be the main title for the page, which will be the author name, right? And I'm also going to give it a margin bottom using one of my classes, so u-margin, or margin top, sorry. Let's also add the bold tags so that the name will be more significant in the page. And let's now open PHP tags and display the name. So let's echo and escape HTML, and then the author display. So let's see now, and we now have the avatar and the author name, and now we need to display the number of posts. So why don't we copy this from here, because it will be a lot of typing, the underscore n and that kind of stuff. So let's copy this and let's paste it here, and I don't think we will have to change anything here. Yes, of course you can always type the translator comment, so maybe modulus s is the number of posts, and let's make sure it's fine, and 3 posts. And then we need to display the website, so let's open PHP and check that we have a website first, and if so, let's output an a tag, and why don't we copy this. It will be the same, we don't have to type it again, and close the a tag, and then inside of here we'll have to echo the website. So let's echo and escape HTML, and then author website. So let's take a look, and now we have the website, but let's echo let's output a line break here. Alright, let's finally output the author description. So in a p tag with the class c-post-author __ description, and let's echo and escape the description. Let's take a look, and fine. I also have a class that wraps after the h1, that wraps the website and the number of posts. I think that will just improve the styling a bit. It's called author __ info, and yeah, it added some spacing and stuff like that. So I think that will be it for the author. Let's see now what other templates are required to create before publishing the theme. So see you in the next lecture.